Good evening. It is 8 minutes past 6. I'm going to call the Dudley Conservation Commission to order. We're going to do roll call first.
Samantha Costello.
George Slingo.
James Kepke.
Nancy Berkovic via Zoom.
Okay. We're going to jump out of order. We're going to do number first, continuance of an NOI, 160 Pierpont Road.
Good evening. Do you have a full board to be able to vote on this?
Yes, we have a Zoom member too.
All right. My name is Stephen Balsavich. I'm representing 160 Pierpont Road, Gale Mountain. At the last meeting, we were waiting for a DEP file number. Since then, I've been in contact with Mia McDonald from DEP. And she had 3 comments. The first comment being the signature sheet in the NOI was not signed by the owner. I sent it electronically prior to her getting it to my office. I have since then sent that to DEP, and you have originals which bear her signature. However, I have a sheet here if you need it. The second item being was the fee. When I looked at the job, replacement of a retaining wall, I checked off site work without a house, $110. My client in the notice of intent shows copies of 2 checks that she made out, and we mailed them out and everything. But evidently, DEP said it should be $4 a linear foot. There's 150 feet of wall being replaced, plus or minus. Based on that, at $4 a foot, it comes to $600. Based on the $600 number, you do the math. It's $287 due to the state and $287.50 due to the state. The town is $312.50. After that, I backed out what she already paid. Therefore, there's a balance of $245 due to the town and $245 due to the state. I have a check. Should I give it to her?
Yep.
I have a check in a revised transmittal form, which I gave her the envelope to mail off the same thing to Boston. So that takes care of the fee question. The remaining item was that under bank, in the notice of intent, I didn't put any alteration of bank. She said it should be the linear footage along the wall, which I revised that sheet, which is 3 of 9, showing 150 feet of bank being removed and then replaced with the new retaining wall. So there's proposed alteration and replication, which is the same. I sent this to DEP, which I brought the sheet along with me, and I'll submit it so you can make sure everything's proper. Now, the final remaining item was planting of trees. In my opinion, there were three, I believe, large trees taken down she filed a request for determination of applicability. And the board allowed her to take down these trees. Prior to my field work, the trees were still there, so I located them and I show them on the plan. Now they have been removed. There is also a clump of trees along the northeast property corner, which are directly behind the wall, which if you're gonna replace the wall, you don't want a tree a couple feet off, because it's gonna push it out. So I have them removing those trees, which were shown on the original plans. And I felt as though personally, that if you take in these 3 large trees down and 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 additional trees, which are of small caliber, they're only 4 or 6 inch, that we should replace a couple trees. Trees are good to provide shade. In their particular site, it's all open with lawn. So I proposed to put 2 new trees back, which DEP suggested that I show them on the plan, which I have no problem with drawing some X's on the plan and put proposed trees. There's a tree planting detail in the original plans. So that would be the final item, is to put 2 trees, 2 X's on the plan showing where we propose the trees, and we can call it a day, I guess. If the board has any questions at this time, I'd be glad to answer
Would
them.
you like to put it right on that?
These will be ornamental trees, 1 inch, 1.5 inch in caliber. I just need the front sheet, yeah.
Has Matt reviewed it?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
So, and hopefully the applicant clarified that on the plan, or at least on the application, to let her know that we have a pre-existing structure out there, that the 150 feet is not all new wall. So because it's a replacement on a wall, it won't trigger the need for a wildlife habitat evaluation or a decision from the commission whether or not it would be needed. Replacement walls don't normally trigger that threshold. In looking at the plan and comparing the site, and I'm looking at the ortho photo now to refresh my memory. I honestly just don't see any issue with this. There's no impact on the wall, there's no impact on the floodplain, there's no changes in elevation, there's no wildlife habitat impact. And the only impact is related to construction. I think the applicant addresses that very well in his application and his plan. And if the commission wants to wait for the DEP number, that's the commission's decision. Or if the commission wants to pass it pending DEP's approval, that's fine too.
I have a DEP file number.
we have it here.
We got it today.
We have a
All
copy.
right.
The DEP file number has been issued.
And just those comments were made?
Yep.
Okay, then I have no further issue with it. It sounds like the applicant's addressed all the comments, and that must have just been issued because I still don't see a number on the portal, but that doesn't mean anything because sometimes they'll issue the number and the portal gets updated like later. So I think in order of conditions for this would be safe to issue.
Okay, thank you. Are there any abutters present? Any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll close. Hearing none. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing at 6:17. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 160 Pierpont Road.
Second.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You're welcome.
Go Celtics.
Next is notice of intent for 17 Cottage Road, Ron Thurnberg? Thurnberg. I'm good at butchering names, I'm sorry.
Hi, Nancy. How are you? Wherever you are.
At home,
Hi.
twisted my ankle.
How are you tonight?
I'm good.
So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ronald Thunberg. I'm the owner applicant on a notice of intent to do work within the bank, within 100 feet of the bank of Hayden Pond. I own the property. It's a kind of a small cottage right now, a 2-story cottage. It's only got like, I don't want to get into the details of the house itself, but it needs an addition for a family room. Really, the only way we could go off this one was off to the side, so we proposed a 30 by 12-foot family room with a small entryway into the front. What that does is it's within 100 feet of Hayden Pond, and we're looking to just do a little bit of grading off to the side of the house where there's a tree. There's a little hump on the ground. It's probably a 3-foot high hump hill where the tree grows. Take that out and just move it back so we get a little bigger yard off to the side of our house. So what we're doing is proposed house and maybe a proposed patio area or something like that, taking down a couple trees, and then we're protecting the bank of the Hayden Pond with environmental control barrier, which was wattles and silt fence surrounding the construction.
Not coming in clearly at all.
What's that?
You have to speak up a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nancy. Where did I lose you? There you are.
What you miss?
Okay. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We're seeking to obtain an order of conditions for the work. We propose to put all this in before any of the work gets done. And then it'll be loamed and seeded before we look for a certificate of compliance.
Any questions from the board?
It was very garbled for me. I could not get much of what he said. Ron, is this your existing property or the Gaudette place?
This is my property now, 17 Cottage, not Sean's place at 15.
Is this Sean's old place or your place?
My place. My place. So it's an addition on the side of the house, Nancy, that's 12 by 30 along the side of the house. Hi.
And what do you, I couldn't, you were very garbled. It was not coming in across Zoom well at all.
I'm sorry, I was probably too far from the microphone. Proposing a 12 by 30 foot addition on the side of my house with a small entryway in the front. Okay, so that work and a little bit of grading off to the side of the house is within the bank, 100 feet of the bank of Hayden Pond. So we're gonna be doing that work, just a little bit of grading to the side of the house, but we're protecting it with an environmental control barrier, which was a wattles and silt fence. Pretty much about 15 feet, 20 feet off the water, on top of the hill there by the gazebo.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, are there any butters present? No butters present? Any questions from the board? Matt, you have any questions?
No. Look over the plan. There's no floodplain impact. There's no rare species issue.
It's
A simple buffer zone project. The plans are very well laid out. The erosion protection details look really good. The person that drew the plan did a really nice job with it. DEP issued a file number with no comments whatsoever. It's as far as the bylaw goes, it's placed out of the 25-foot zone. Everything looks good. Standard order should cover this just fine.
okay.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome, sir. It's good to kind of see you again, by the way.
Yes, all I see is a picture of you, so I can't.
Hey, Russ, as an aside, Ron, When are you gonna tear down 15?
I'm gonna sell it to my son, probably. He's working on financing right now, so that's hopefully gonna happen soon. Sooner rather than later.
Good, before it falls down.
I know.
That's an aside, sorry, guys.
Well, you're on, my eyesight isn't so good when I look at plans, so when I'm reviewing it, if I put my camera up, you're gonna see me going like this to the computer. I didn't think the commission would want to spend all night having to look at that, so
That's right.
All right,
I give them mercy and leave the picture.
Okay, so, no questions from the board, no questions from any abutters. I'm gonna close the public hearing at 6:24. Someone like to make a motion?
Motion to issue a standard order of conditions for 17 Cottage Road.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Thanks so much.
Nancy?
I'm sorry, what? Did anybody make a motion? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, a motion's been made and seconded.
Okay, yes, unanimous.
Okay, opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Just waiting to close the public hearing. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you. A notice of intent for 120 Pierpont Road, Gail Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry, I put the wrong name.
Wrong-
They were 160. It's the right address, it's the wrong name.
Okay. What is the right name?
And my name is Brian Lilbreck at 120 Pierpont Road in Dudley.
Okay.
I filed, I have a DEP number. I haven't heard anything from DEP, but paid my fee. It's basically, if you 120 Pierpont Road, my driveway, my entire lot is only about 75 feet deep to the water and 64 feet wide. My driveway is literally 10 feet deep and runs the width of the property along Pierpont Road. That is a fieldstone retaining wall that I'm looking to replace. Right now, the retaining wall, some of the pictures I taken indicate the fieldstone is falling into my property. The driveway is starting to cave in certain locations. So I am looking to, rebuild that retaining wall and repair the driveway, as well as, by default, the stairs that come down from the driveway will have to get replaced. This, below the driveway is my, $40,000 leach field that I just put in 4 years ago on this property. And so the same gentleman who put that septic system in is gonna be doing this work as well, Morris Excavating. He worked with you folks in the town and putting in that system. So that's why I wanted to go with him, because, that's, that drip irrigation system for the leaching on this small lot is an expensive item, and I wanted to make sure it was protected. So at any rate, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for approval to allow me to fix this retaining wall.
Okay, well, right now, we don't have a file number, so we can't approve anything at
Really?
tonight's meeting,
Why is that?
because we don't have a file number. We
Where
need
does
a
that come from?
DEP file from the DEP.
So when you issue and open a file, I have a file, I submitted the application.
Yeah.
They just didn't pick it up?
Well, they might have picked it up, but I can't explain it. I don't know why.
So they take my money and they don't give me a file number?
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're backed up, is what we've been told for many months.
It's pretty far away from them.
Oh, boy. All right.
That does happen, and it's not just exclusive to Dudley, it's happening all.
So we can continue this meeting to our next meeting.
Okay. How do I know if I have a file number? Will they email me or?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna wait for that then, and then I'll try to get back on the agenda when I know for sure I have that file number. I wasn't aware that I needed to wait for a file number.
Yeah, there's two other ones that, besides yourself, that can't go forward until we have a file number.
Okay. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Can you make a, is it okay if we make a motion to extend
Oh.
it to the next meeting? Keep the public hearing open.
Okay, yeah.
So moved. So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to continue this meeting, order conditioned, an NOI for Brian Lebret.
Yep.
For 120 Pierpoint Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Very good. See you
Thank you.
next time. Thank you.
The next on the agenda is a notice of intent for Henry Marsh Road.
Yeah.
Good evening. Jason Dubois, DC Engineering and Survey out of Charlton. I'm here representing Ramco Construction at Henry Marsh Road. This property has a wetland system that runs kind of through the property through here. Here's Henry Marsh Road here. We're looking to allow access to get to the backland. The 100-foot buffer zones come through here and pretty much the entire driveway coming in. We do have a wetland fill proposed for this driveway. It's about 730 feet. And we have a proposed replication area here of 1,100 square feet, so it's about a 1.5 to 1. We have erosion controls on each side of the driveway going down with boulders kind of stacked on the sides of the driveway just to prevent the fill from going out any further than needed. There is a detail showing the driveway cross-section in this area here. We do have on the plan details for the replication, sequence of construction, some replication notes, and also in the NOI there's a replication protocol just calling out planting time and, you know, overseen by a qualified wetland person with planting specifications and all that. This is one of those that doesn't have a DEP number yet, so
All right.
I guess if there's any other questions on the plan.
Matt, do you have any questions?
No, I did review the site, I reviewed the wetland delineation. At this point, I don't have any issues with the plan, just waiting for DEP.
Okay. Are there any abutters? Hearing none, someone wants to make a motion, we continue the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we continue the hearing for Henry Marsh Road.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I have to abstain myself from the next one. It's a notice of intent for Dudley Southbridge Road. So Sam or Fran, you want to take over?
I don't care.
Next one is a notice of intent for Dudley Southbridge Road, Evergreen Realty Trust. Construction of a single-family resident, no DEP file.
All right. Again, Jason Dubois, DC Engineering and Survey. This property is located on Dudley Southbridge Road, owned by Evergreen Realty Trust. It is construction of a single-family residence. The wetland line basically runs along the western property line, basically coming right down through here. Access is from Dudley Southbridge Road here, so the driveway is gonna be coming in from here and then flaring away from the wetland. But the driveway is within the 100-foot buffer zone, as well as portions of the septic and the house. The 100-foot buffer zone basically comes right through this area here and comes back around. The well is outside of the buffer zone, and pretty much everything on this lot is sloping down like this towards the wetland. Septic system's up here, and we do have erosion controls running along the down gradient side of all the work areas, as well as erosion control detail on the plan. This project is also in front of the Board of Health right now for Board of Health approval. I haven't heard anything from them, and I know that we don't have a DP number still. So I guess if there's any questions on what we have so far.
I actually don't see the folder here.
Matt, you know
Here it
anything
is.
about this one? Dudley Southbridge Road, Evergreen Trust?
No, I've been on the site, I've reviewed the wetland delineation, it looks fine, project is a buffer zone project.
Sorry.
Access is limited to one side, I don't have any issues with it. We'll just have to wait to see if DEP does, but I didn't see anything that triggered any red flags at all.
Well, he doesn't have a DEP number yet, do you?
No, I do not.
No.
Right, no, we're just waiting for that.
All right.
So technically, we didn't open a public hearing. So how do you want us to continue with this?
I think it was open, wasn't it, the hearing?
It was open already? Okay.
Well, tonight.
I guess you did
Yeah.
technically. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we
Might
continue
wanna
the public hearing.
check with the butters.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Sorry, let me back up. Are there any abutters to Dudley Southbridge Road?
Yes.
Would you like to approach? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Michelle Testa. I am at 266 Dudley Southbridge Road. So I
This
am,
one?
yes, property to the right. I guess my concerns would be the area in between my property and the Jarvis's next door. I know it's not considered wetlands, but those grounds are wet pretty much 10 months out of the year. So I'm wondering how this project is going to affect that area of my property. And I know that the back area to the Jarvis's is constantly wet as well. So we're wondering how this is gonna affect our land.
Matt, can you hear what she's saying?
Yeah, so essentially the question is that she noticed that some of the uplands tend to retain a high water table.
Yes,
I don't see any upset to the groundwater to the point where it would cause any issues on any abutting property. There's been a lot of decent amount of land saved, some pretty good buffers, any extra water that might.
Matt says, our engineer says that he doesn't
We're
think it's
losing you a little bit, Matt.
it would be an issue.
Matt can't hear you.
All right, hold on. How about now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So essentially, I don't see an issue being generated off the property causing an issue with any of the abutters' properties.
Could you repeat that, please? I don't think she can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're totally gone at the moment.
Okay, how about now?
Okay.
it's like Charlie Brown.
The grading has been planned for by the engineer. To retain some of it on the property.
For some reason, you keep coming in and out, Matt.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why. How about now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to check into what's going on with the microphone in this computer. But essentially, the grading that's done on the plan and its proximity to wetlands would not generate any extra water flow going off to the property onto any of the other abutting properties. Any extra water generated by the driveway would be handled by the wetland. It's a minor amount. I do know what she's talking about as far as, you know, the property has some spots where it has a high groundwater table. I don't think that's going to be an issue. You know, there were perkable areas, so that indicates that the lot has the ability to handle percolate extra groundwater. So I'm not concerned.
Okay, so I know where they're trying to bring in the driveway, I know that's far to the west on the side. My concern would be where they're putting the house. So where they're placing the home, that additionally you're saying would not cause us any more additional water issues than we already have?
Correct, same comment.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Again, Matt says he doesn't see it.
Apologies for the problem with the microphone.
Okay. You seem to be okay now.
I can't. All right, we're gonna have to continue it anyways because we don't have a DEP number.
Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing.
We don't open the club public hearing.
Just continue
We're gonna
that.
continue this. I make a motion to continue this, for Dudley Southbridge Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Is it 2 weeks or is it next month?
Technically, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
3.
3 weeks?
You're looking at June
3.
15th.
June 15th? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So June 15th, there'll be another meeting here? Okay. And
Yes, thank you.
that would be at 6 PM as well? And open to?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is, we need to extend order of conditions for 74 Flaxfield Road.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, he's back.
Vice Chair.
Okay, so in looking at that file, am I correct, based on what I have on my records, is that this file technically was due to expire in June?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so due to the timing of the pandemic and the governor's pandemic orders related to tolling,
The one in the cove across.
this permit actually has an extra 461 days added to it. So it doesn't expire until September now of 2023. So the need for the extension permit at this point is not necessary. If the applicant wishes an extension, they should ask for it and send a letter dated by August 1st of 2023.
I walked in, I'm sorry,
That one, Flaxfield.
We're on the next page.
So, George, in other words,
Blacksfield.
the original.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay. So the original permit is due to expire in June of this year, according to our normal records.
yep,
However, this permit was in effect during the tolling period, during the initial start of the pandemic, when the governor issued emergency tolling orders that have since been modified. So essentially, because this is a qualifying permit, the governor's orders automatically extended an extra 461 days over and above the original expiration date. So the new expiration date, due to the governor's orders and the modification, would add an extra 461 days to the expiration date, which I calculate to be in September of 2023. So to be on the safe side, if the applicant does wish the extension, they should ask for one by August 1st of 2023. The request for the extension permit is actually complete, and I know this has caused a lot of confusion, and I've been trying to straighten it out with the towns I associate with, but that's the way the law has been modified due to these permits that were in effect during the pandemic. So the applicant's request for the extension technically is premature.
okay. Do you have that too?
What if the applicant asks for a 3-year extension though?
doesn't need the extension, it's already extended.
Yes, but over
the
to
government.
2023.
Right.
Their extension, they're asking for 3 years, would extend them out to 2025.
So they're asking for an extension to 2025.
They don't need it right now. Technically, the permit's not expired. It won't expire until September of 2023.
So they
So
need
they should ask for the extension to 2025 by August 1st of 2023.
All right,
thank you.
thank you. Okay, we'll go back to the first one, which is order conditions for 40 Fish Road, DJT Properties. This is a continuation of a public hearing, correct?
Yes. Yeah, the last time I was here, we were waiting for a file number from DEP, and there was some, well, first of all, I'm Mary Ann DePinto, 3 Oaks Environmental, and,
Ever talk into the microphone?
okay.
Far
Mary,
away, I can't hear her.
I'm Mary Ann DePinto, 3 Oaks Environmental, representing the applicant. When I was here a couple of months ago now, I think it is, DEP had not yet issued a file number, and when they did, there were a number of items on that list. I submitted a letter to the commission with the response. I have it electronically. Try to save paper. The plan was updated at DEP's request to include the rest of the bank flags down to what they said was Fish Road. It's really the gravel pit road to that culvert. And I did that. There was no work in that riverfront area. That's why I hadn't continued the flags beyond the point that I had put them. But I went back and did all of the bank flags, verified them, and they're on the plan. Then we had the engineer calculate the amount of riverfront area on the property, and that's 107,969 square feet. And the alteration of the riverfront for new agriculture, riverfront area for new agriculture is only 100 feet. Greenhouses count as agriculture under the regulations. And there's some case law that the attorney slipped in there as well that explains that greenhouses are considered agriculture. And where was I going with this? The riverfront area that's being impacted is 9,181 square feet, which is 8.5% of the riverfront area for new agriculture. Additionally, DEP asked for mounding calculations for the stormwater basins. The stormwater basins themselves are not considered as an alteration in the riverfront area for stormwater purposes. Those numbers are kept out. So the alteration of that 9,181 square feet is a retaining wall, some of the parking, and some grading in the riverfront area. The basins themselves will empty within the 72 hours. The mounding calculations show 50 hours. So that met the criteria that DEP was looking for. Let's see what else we have. Because the area is considered degraded, and if you'd seen the site before, the previous landowner had taken and scraped much of the topsoil off of that area that's being worked in and piled it and was selling the topsoil. I have pictures that date back in time. I've got one in the file that shows the cart road into that area where that was all stockpiled. So it was a degraded area, and it was already land in agricultural use as well. So between the 100-foot riverfront area for new agriculture and the land that was previously degraded, the work meets the performance standards for work in the riverfront area because of it being agriculture. If I'm making sense at this point. Let's see if there's any other questions DEP asked. Oh, the 401 water quality certificate. It doesn't apply to this particular notice of intent. It goes back to the request for determination on the 2 agricultural ponds. The federal government in 2020 issued new regulations that excluded man-made by excavation agricultural ponds, excluded them from federal review under the 404 Clean Water Act. So the negative determination was issued. The ponds were eliminated. I was out there today, there's no water where those ponds were previously. And then the government came back in August of 2021 after the ponds were removed. I have photographs of May 2021 where the ponds were, where the land was all graded out and the ponds are gone. In August of 2021, the federal government sort of put a stay on that and went back to using the old regulations, which would now regulate those ponds now. But there's appeals and all sorts of, so we'll see how that all pans out. But when you folks made the negative determination decision and the ponds were eliminated, it was all legal. And when something is not jurisdictional under the federal law 404 Clean Water Act, it can't be jurisdictional under the state 401 regulations, because those 401 regs come from the federal law. So if it's exempt under federal law, it has to be exempt under state law for 401 and 404. So, I think that covers it. Any questions?
Yeah, I have personally, I'm sorry, maybe it's because I'm remote and
okay.
your voice was choppy.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what it is you're asking us for.
An order of
All that
conditions to finish. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what are you asking the Conservation Commission of Dudley to approve?
Construction of greenhouses, partly 9,000 square feet of which are in the riverfront area for new agriculture.
Okay, all right.
Okay, any questions from the board? Matt, have you reviewed this plan?
Yes, I have. Actually, Ms. DePinto was nice enough to keep me in the loop and send me copies of all the information and supplemental reports that she sent into DEP. And her conclusions, in my opinion, are accurate. I've heard no responses from DEP. She's correct, especially with regard to the federal regs. I had actually been through that myself in another venue on my own projects. And that was the law back then. It is under appeal now. She is correct. I've been keeping track of those. But essentially, in my view, it's safe to issue the order of conditions at this point.
Okay, so no questions from the board? No abutters present? I will close the public hearing at 6:51.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we issue a standard order of conditions for 40 Fish Road.
Second.
Motion's been made second and third. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The plan that you have in front of you is what's being built. The plan that will be submitted tomorrow just highlights that area of impact, and it'll have the newest date. So that's the date that should be put on the order of conditions? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. So I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn,
I'll
or
make a
or
motion
read
to
that.
adjourn.
Minutes? No minutes?
No minutes.
No minutes.
Okay.
We, We approved some minutes, but we never signed it last week.
Okay.
So,
Got a couple questions after the meeting. One for Matt, one for Sue. After the meeting, so please don't hang up.
okay,
Will do.
all right. So we've already approved these minutes at the last meeting. We just didn't sign them.
I wasn't here at the last meeting.
You wasn't?
Okay, now Sue, my question for you is, since there are four of them, there are four board members present, if they sign them, do I have to come in and sign anything?
She can sign your name.
Yes, with your
All right, then have her
approval.
sign my name with her initials underneath it, that's fine.
Yep, okay,
With my approval.
sounds good.
Okay,
And Matt, my question for you is, with this extension that we just went through, that lengthy discussion, does that mean that in, like, My Pond's order of conditions, which are up for weed treatment in August, or in September, whatever, do we get automatically extended, or do we have to refile?
You would automatically be extended an extra 461 days.
Okay, so instead of this year, it would be
it was on Hayden Pond.
461 days later. All right, terrific.
Okay,
That's all
cool.
I needed to know. Thank you.
Nancy,
gonna make a motion.
what's the approximate expiration date?
I think it's November, October or November of this year is the order of conditions. So it would be, I could figure that out. It's just, we don't need to we had it on our agenda to do a refile through me in August, just to be ahead of the game. So, I can now put that off another 460 days.
I make a
And I'll
motion
figure
on
that out. I can figure that.
Yeah, it would be sometime in February, I believe, of 2024.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, motion's been made to adjourn. Can I have a-
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye,
night.
guys.